Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I first of all hope you've had a great Martyrs Day and want to wish you a great Heroes Day. June is an interesting month because we celebrate sacrifice, and not just sacrifice but also legacy. So tonight we are going to be looking at a combination of the two, both sacrifice and legacy, and what does it mean to you as a man. Now, as I always say, this is your show. We want to hear from you. Let's talk. Let's talk on Twitter. Let's talk on Facebook. Like our Facebook page, it's NTV Men. Let's get the discussions going on. And you can also follow our new Twitter handle. That's NTV Men UG. And let's get these discussions going on. Now, we're here at Inspire Africa Coffee talking about sacrifice and legacy as we enjoy one of the best cups of coffee in Kampala. We have a rock star in the house. She's called Madonna. Actually, you know, you're the only African woman I know called Madonna. But I will start with Banji. You know, Banji always says, why me, why me, why me, why me, why me, why me? Now, Banji, can you build a legacy without sacrifice, in your opinion?
First, I would like to tell my mom that if I develop gray hair, it's because of your questions. Because they are tough, they require me to scratch my hair. In my humble opinion, I think that the process of building a legacy itself is sacrifice. Because when you are building a legacy, you are behaving like these pilots who fly us from one place to another. You see and you say, this is where I would like either my family or my society in which I live to be. This is the direction I'm taking. And you know, the economists say, whatever decision you make, there will be an opportunity cost for going. If you make a choice, say, to build a legacy, maybe you are building a successful family. Then you will forego probably partying, entertainment, being bossy, because you have really to bring yourself down. So the process, in my opinion, the process of building a legacy itself is itself sacrifice. So because you put in all your effort, you put in all your energy, you put in all your planning, to make sure that it is a success. So in a way, you are sacrificing many other things. You are sacrificing other options that you would have gone for, that you would have enjoyed. And you are doing all this because you want to leave something that will be of use to your family.
Okay, now Chris, riding off what Banji has said, he has painted a picture of gloom. That basically to build a legacy, which is not very encouraging to a lot of people, you're going to suffer, suffer, suffer. And I guess he's even picturing the martyrs who gave up their lives for that. Can I create a legacy while enjoying my life? Or do I have to bite the bullet and say, you know what, this is it, I'm that guy who's going to take one for the team, which means my family and generations to come?
Now, Peter, first of all, it's quite interesting that we're having this show right smack in the middle of Martyrs Day and Heroes Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the reason why the Uganda martyrs have been celebrated for more than 100 years is because they did something heroic. Okay, so it's, you actually have sacrifice and heroism intertwined. So we all marvel at the fact that these guys were being burnt alive, at least the last batch that was killed, and they were singing praises. And like, who does that? Okay, it's just that they were able to push themselves beyond human limitations because of very strong convictions, because of stuff they believed in. And I dare say that most people who are called heroes or who are celebrated or who leave a legacy worth talking about are people who've had strong convictions about something and they have given their blood, sweat to it. Right? You talk Martin Luther King, you talk, I mean, anybody worth the mention, anyone who's left a legacy dared to go the extra mile, right? And so I really think that enjoyment or no enjoyment, conviction is actually what drives people toward a legacy. Now, it's possible for it to be both negative or positive.
Yeah.
I mean, Hitler believed in his thing and he did a good job.
Yeah.
Mussolini and Stalin and all these people who, you know, they leave a bad taste in our mouths, but they did what they did.
Yeah.
They had strong convictions. So it can be notorious and an ugly one. It can be something positive. But I don't see anybody who ever achieves a big thing without sacrificing. Because with strong conviction comes you're giving up all your resources.
Yeah.
Like he said, opportunity cost. Like the stuff you're going to forego because you have this razor sharp focus to get to where you need to go.
Yeah, but
And I think that for all men, that's a question we need to ask ourselves. Where are your strongest convictions? What's your purpose? What's your dream? What do you want to achieve?
yeah.
So then that drives legacy, because you could actually build legacy in one moment of history, which could cost you your life,
Yeah.
but you go down unforgettable.
But then isn't that where the challenge is? It's about pain and something to marinate on. Madonna, love the hair. Looking nice. Don't worry, that's not to disarm you. Now, you are fortunate, okay, to come from a family where sacrifices were made for this country we're in. And I happen to have seen Uganda before 1986, and I have seen it now. A lot of people who did not see that don't know the difference, but I know the difference. However, now you've come of age, okay. Do you think it's now just it's up to the men to continue, or young ladies like you should literally get in the driving seat and now start building on the legacy that has been set, so that the generations to come will get a better time?
I want to first ask what legacy you're talking about.
The legacy that was left by your dad.
Oh, the legacy of the NRM and the drive of...
No, I'm talking about your father's legacy, not NRM. NRM is NRM.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Is it 2021 yet?
It may be a good time to start.
yeah,
right?
it made me agree.
Then the true colors.
That's
come
what
out.
comes first.
Sponge is dressed well. He has all the colors.
Either, whichever way it goes.
There is a new color. Do I have it? I think it appears here.
People power, everything
Yeah.
is in there.
But-
Yellow, blue.
ANT.
I think it's up to all of us as one to like start, like you said, it takes drive. And what's driving you? Most young people of our generation, mostly women, are not given that drive of like, you know, you can achieve, that thing from childhood where you're given the belief of like, yeah, I can run for president right now. I can, do this, right? Like I can get to the next level. I can build this. So I just feel like it's up to us as this generation to just start,
But isn't that easier said than done? Because the truth be told, a lot of people in your generation are very comfortable with the way they are.
How many people, I want to ask you how many people of my age, 25, I put my age out there, but how many people of my age do you know are making like down payments on houses? How
Very
many?
few.
Exactly. You understand? In some way, like there is a way women are not from childhood groomed to make such moves of like we are worrying about the material things of like, like the bag is like, oh, let me buy this shoe, let me, no one is like telling you like, okay, there's this plot of land, go and buy it.
And whose fault is that?
I feel like it's like the older generation, and on top of that, women of like most people our age are not.
The women who came before have let you down? Don't answer that question. Now we are here at the Inspire Africa Coffee House, enjoying a very good conversation about legacy and those who let us down, okay, as We are caught in between Martyrs' Day and Heroes' Day. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we're here at Inspire Africa Coffee talking about legacy, and I dare call it the power of legacy. Now, is there legacy without sacrifice? According to Chris, no, there's not. Is it meant to be a painful moment? According to Banji, yes, it is. Have we been let down by our predecessors?
Serious.
According to Madonna, yes, we have.
Not
Now,
really.
let's get engaged in the conversation, especially on our new Twitter handle. That's NTV MEN UG, and let's just get this discussion going.
So, Igaga, I want to quote from my social science background, what we call the framing theory. Now, framing is about the way events are presented. And incidentally, if you dig down in history, you may realize that there are certain heroes. For instance, in this country, Uganda, people were supposed to be celebrating as heroes. But because the way society has framed their achievements, we may look at them as having been failures or having been brutal people. I'll give you an example. You look at a man like Kabalega, the great king of Bunyoro.
Yes.
The man fought and resisted colonial invasion of his territory. Okay? But because the writers of history at that time were the very colonials that he fought, you know, they portrayed the man as what? As bad, as brutal, as militaristic, as a fellow who killed his people. But in fact, this guy sacrificed his own chair. You understand? His own kingdom. He was a king, but he said, I will fight or die fighting in order to defend my people. Now, this guy is a hero. This guy created a legacy. For us who read social history, this guy created a legacy for himself, but also for the people of Bunyoro. So, now, and I want to pick from where Chris said, sometimes being a hero is a point of madness. I will use the word madness. You know, you do things that no one expects you to do. If we look at, and I'm not being political, if we look at the current government, the 27 guys who went and attacked, one guy, I'm going to use the word crazy in a positive way, picked his gun and fired the first bullet. You know, probably his colleagues were even not ready to fire. But the moment he fired, he triggered history, isn't it? Yes. So he's a hero. He should be celebrated in that arrangement in which he is. But he made sacrifice. Because probably by firing, he gave away their position. They could have killed all of them. But again, he started something good for his people and probably for us Ugandans. So the process of creating a legacy, in fact, as you struggle many times, you are likely to be sacrificed in the process. Okay. So it is
again, it's not very, your words are not very encouraging.
No, they are not encouraging, but I want the viewers there to know that there is no gain without pain. Okay? By the way, there are also heroes. Heroes in Uganda who have created a legacy through positive contribution. Because to us, the society, we don't see the sacrifices that they make. Yeah. For instance, there are families we know that when we talk about business, guys who have built business empires, because they have left legacies, they will leave legacies. You know, when you talk of a certain business, you point to someone else. You talk to about another business, who are the tea farmers, you point at someone. Which guys are good at making oil, you point at someone. There's a particular brand of soap, even when things were bad.
Aren't you talking about all the same person?
No. They are different. There is a particular type of soap I remember in the late 1980s, when things were bad, when the current government was rationing soap and sugar. There's certain brand of soap we still used to use. And up to now it is there. It is being produced because I don't want to advertise it here. They haven't paid. But this family for us in the public, we may say the family is successful, they are enjoying the millions of money they are making, but we don't know
Where it
started and what sacrifice these guys have made. So I am of this belief that behind every success, behind every legacy, behind every hero, there is some pain. Okay, the extent of pain we don't know, but you must be willing to fight. You must be willing. You know, someone recently wrote that it is out of the mud, and I think it was the president of a neighboring country, that it is out of the dirt soil that we get food. So you cannot say I will eat food without someone dirtening their hands.
Now, Chris, do you believe that leaders are born? In other words, there are certain people, because we are not all the same. There are certain people who can do certain things. And if I may take the example of our first 27, not everybody could participate in that. But there was just a handful of guys who said, you know what, let's do this. Now, not all of us have that. So can we say you're either born to leave a legacy or you're not?
Well, so I have a lot to say, but I will say that obviously leaders are born, because that's one way to get to earth, like you're born. Okay, so all leaders are born.
Born a leader.
But I also would want to say that it's also true that all of us are leaders in something.
Some people are meant to be followers.
You'll be surprised.
They also lead in following.
The best leaders are also great at following. Just think about it this way. Think about the NRA, NRM, and all the achievements they made with, if they had bad intelligence. There's no way they would have been able to succeed, right? If you think military, etc. But you got to follow the leads that some small timer is giving you to say there's oncoming attack or something. You are following that guy in order for you to succeed. All great leaders are great followers, and the other way around. So what I'm saying is that in all of us, there is capacity to lead. One of my professors once called it, he said it comes from a Latin word, ladeo, which means that someone has gone ahead on the journey and comes back to take you on the journey. So all of us, in some respect, have done a journey ahead of the other. I'll give you an example. Peter, with how smart you look and all this stuff,
thank you very much, sir.
I doubt that you know Owino Market as well as the wheelbarrow pusher who knows all the twists and turns, especially on a rainy day. So if you need to quickly do shopping, and you must do it in Owino, you want to get that wheelbarrow pusher to say, boss, I need oranges, I need rice, I need sugar. A sack of sugar, a sack of rice, and so many kilos of oranges. And the guy is going to tell you, no problem, follow me. And he's going to quickly get you to this person, quickly get you to the other person, and you're going to make it in no time. Why? He has done the journey so many times, and he can lead. So why is that man able to lead you? Is because he went through the initial pain of going through the wrong routes and has accumulated experience that he can use to lead you in a better place. So one of the things I think that we need to all realize is that we all have a contribution we can make, because we are all building an experience that sometimes, or most times, comes out of pain in some way. Going back to heroism and sacrifice and that kind of thing, I therefore feel that whereas we need to celebrate iconic people in our society, it's important for us not to forget that seated in every house right now is some man who's watching us, who's a hero. You are your child's hero. You are your wife's hero. And it's that simple when you stop to think about it. If you didn't do the stuff you are doing, it's possible that Some kid is not going to have a great education, won't have a roof on their head, is going to be raped, etc. But because you are, and because you are making the sacrifices you have to make so that your family thrives, you are a hero. And I think that we need to contextualize that and stop having these national days where we only celebrate some guys who did, I mean, with all due respect, but for crying out loud, every family has a hero, and those are fathers.
No.
So,
just before you
get,
pick on that, and I'd like to hear from you. You know, Chris has mentioned something very interesting. He's talked about a father who provides, who takes his kid to school and all that. From a woman's perspective, isn't that what the man is meant to do anyway?
Well, from what he said, I feel like there are very many heroes who wear different. Not every hero wears a cap. That's one. Two, not every hero has to be a man. Three.
So you've just discarded what you're saying.
No. Do not twist it. Do not twist it. Not and three. In his the question you've asked regarding his point is that, in my opinion, from what you said about the days being celebrated, I disagree, because if you think about it, the notion that this Heroes Day goes with is that some people went and put in the sacrifice. People died. Some people are amputated from it. I know some people who are actually amputated. So let's celebrate these people. Let's make it, the whole point of celebrating it is to make it a good thing. Make people look forward to, doing good, to be the way some people are raised, by giving them sweets and being good job, pat on the, So I think that we shouldn't discard the
Madonna,
celebration.
can I just say, I'm actually
Okay,
thinking
before you tell us,
every day can be a hero.
We do have to go into a break.
I'll
Now,
tell you.
we are here at Inspire Africa Coffee talking about sacrifice and legacy. If you're the kind of person who believes that you've got it in you to take it to the next level, well, then you have to sacrifice, bear the pain, as Banji says. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. In case you've just joined us, we are here at Inspire Africa Coffee having a great chat about legacy and sacrifice over a cup of coffee. Best way to do it. Now, don't forget to follow our show. I'm coming to you in half a second.
Okay.
It is NTV MEN UG on Twitter. We want to hear from you. Like our page on Facebook. Let's get these discussions going on. Banji.
Peter,
yes.
before Banji speaks, I was actually making a point just before the break. And I just wanted to contextualize what I was saying. I'm in no ways downplaying Heroes Day, which happens once a year on 9th of June. And it's come from celebrating the heroes who fought one war, and it's added so many other things, which is good. The point I was making, and which is important for us not to lose, is that there's so many heroic things that are being done by so many people that if they go uncelebrated, we might just as well discourage them.
But can we celebrate everybody?
So that's the point. I don't go for Heroes Day. I'm not in Kololo or wherever it is they put it, right? But I have a father. I have people around me who've made sacrifices that I relate to, or you relate to, and they're not on the list of so what the point I'm making is, whereas we need to honor the big iconic heroes, and no offense, it's important for us to be able to also honor the heroes of our day. It's one of the things that's amazing. If we talk, even ladies, talking about moms, for example, right? If you just count the things mothers do, it's amazing.
But Chris, you see,
so use that day to celebrate heroic things that are done by day-to-day people.
Wait a minute. You are burdening Chris. Chris is presenting something very interesting. Now, let us look at it this way. Because, and again I'm going to go back to my theory which I brought at the beginning, framing. The way we have framed heroes, the way we have, framed legacy, is that it has to be something big, like an elephant, beyond an elephant. And I'm going to tell you, no. On this show, every other day almost, I quote my grandmother.
Yeah.
My grandmother has a list of sayings, advice, and knowledge that which, if you live by, you realize that there will be peace in your marriage. So she's a hero. Wait. I know you are the big man, but wait a little bit. I am going to tell you one thing. Very many people in rural areas, and even in Kampala, you wake up, you find food on the table. Food. And I want to speak this one directly to ladies. That the man breaks his back, he brings food in a kavera or whatever container, he puts there, and you look and you never say thank you. Do you know how he sweats
But she
to...
has been mopping the house.
Do you know? And those are the small things we are saying. The man, by putting this food on the table, from January to January, is a hero for the family.
Come on, he's doing what he's supposed to do.
The woman who cooks this food is a hero.
She's
so
doing what she's
when we
supposed to do.
begin by celebrating small heroes, then we can
Now, okay.
celebrate bigger heroes.
Now,
Because first, wait. How do you build a legacy? Do you begin by doing huge things? No. You begin, it's a process. You begin by small things. The most celebrated achievement of Uganda is when the NRM, I'm saying
then it was NRA.
NRA, you know, toppled the other regime, chaotic regimes, and brought peace and brought prosperity. So they say, and so we see. We have tall buildings now in Kampala, and we have peace. We sleep from west to east, north to south. Okay? But it started with firing one bullet. That's what I'm telling you. So heroes and heroes build, some of the events are cumulative events. And at the end of that day, for us, the public, we normally celebrate sometimes the outcome. But we forget the process of building that outcome.
Can I say something where, and I beg to differ, and that's where I agree with you. You see, it's very easy to kind of minimize our gains and say, as long as I've done something small, I'm good, I'm a hero.
Yeah.
As long as I've done something small, how about doing what you're supposed to do? I'll give you a simple example. I always say you cannot thank your parents for feeding you. It is your legal right.
Responsibility.
That's why they are
Responsibility.
heroes.
No, they're not. They're doing what they're supposed to do.
Peter.
No.
Yeah.
There's a line between
I rarely
responsibility.
use four-lettered words.
Yes, like food.
That's crap.
Come on.
Why?
Come on.
No, seriously. Let me tell you something, Peter. There is a long list of men who are not providing for their kids, of men who don't pay school fees, of men who have no
My
shelter for
question.
their kids.
And that makes
Can
it
I
okay.
ask- can I
for
ask
those
a
who are doing
question?
what they're
listen,
supposed
Peter.
to do.
So the thing is that, and I'm actually surprised that you are a pre-1986 person and you're talking like this.
No, let me tell you what.
No,
And
let
I'll
me
say-
first ask, because something,
Can I just
because
say
someone
one
has,
thing?
I'm actually on your point,
Yeah.
because someone has lacked on their responsibility, it shouldn't make it that great. It is still a
okay, so
responsibility.
can I also-
So we shouldn't call them
guess
heroes.
what? It's everyone's responsibility to fight injustice. So
Yes.
because some people lacked on the responsibility, should we celebrate those who did?
No, don't.
That's the same
don't-
argument.
No, you see, what I'm
no.
saying is
It's the
this.
same
You
argument.
see, what you're doing is you're letting people off the hook who are going to the other day you were talking about men and giving their what you call their wives money, and you're busy saying, no, but you're supposed to do it. Now, do you know how many men don't do that? So are we going to say those who give their wives
Yeah.
Do you know how many
celebrated?
people are supposed to fight injustice and they don't do it?
Everybody's supposed to fight injustice.
Exactly.
Okay.
So those who did fight it, they were supposed to. So
So
therefore,
we
we
shouldn't
shouldn't
no,
celebrate
this-
celebrate.
them.
no,
Because you guys, you are contradicting. They are contradicting
You're actually the
themselves.
ones contradicting, because my whole understanding of it is that these are responsibilities that day to day you've grown up seeing. Now you're
Keep
going to
ideas of
do them.
responsibility,
Going to
yeah.
war, getting a gun, shooting that bullet, being even shot in the eye. Now that is a sacrifice. Something that is your responsibility is
Madonna,
different
can
from
I
a
just help us here a
sacrifice.
little bit? What we actually need to be thinking about is the culture of honor. The culture of honor. The culture of honor does celebrate everything good that people do. Right? I'm not saying, and I have said this again and again, I'm not saying that the people who fought in the 86 war didn't do a good thing, just as well as the guys who fought in 45 in the World War, whatever, too,
Yes.
just as well as, so the thing is that, as the Uganda Martyrs who stood for what they believed in, right? So why do we have Uganda Martyrs? Why do we have Janan Luum Day?
Yes.
Why do we have, so why do we have Father's Day and Mother's Day? Why do we have Heroes Day and all these things? Why do we have Independence Day? Because again, Obote and others, Benedict Chiwanuka and stuff, they fought for the independence of the country. We can't forget Obote even if we want to wipe him out. We cannot forget Amin for making people believe that they could actually run business even when they had no idea. So here's the point. Here's the point. We need as a country to have a culture of honor. Now. You are offended.
No.
Wait,
And I
Peter,
agree
Peter, wait.
100%.
So you are offended because I am celebrating some small-time heroes in their sitting room who are watching us. You shouldn't be offended by that. The culture of honor, my honoring a father who does his job well, does not reduce anything from a president who did his job well.
Because
Are you going to honor the same?
If I may just say
There's
one
no
thing.
problem.
Then, if that's the case, let me take it in actually in the case of employment. Do you know one of the challenges we have in this country? Because I get to work on time, I'm always on time. How come I'm not being noticed for being on time? I'm supposed to be there on time. It's what I'm supposed to do.
Peter.
Do I become a hero because I'm at work
Peter,
on time?
you are
every day?
a boss and you do not promote or reward the person who keeps time. So do you know what you're doing actually? You're not celebrating your A players. Companies
So
that don't celebrate their A players lose them,
Keeping
and
time
you're promoting
is
mediocrity.
What you're supposed
Now,
to do.
Crap,
Now,
Peter, you
Peter,
promote the person who
supposed to be on
celebrate
time.
them.
Igaga, and I hope Chris.
And so everybody's
Wait
a
a
hero.
minute.
Everybody
I
in
hope
this country
yeah.
is a
I
hero
hope Chris
there.
doesn't shoot me. I am not well versed with the Bible the way he is, but I will quote the example of Jesus. The little knowledge I know is that it was Jesus' duty, sent by the Father, to come and redeem us. But we celebrate Jesus. It was his duty. But as a Christian, I celebrate Jesus. Every 25th of a
Because
year.
you're thankful he saved you.
Yes, because he
You are
thankfully saved us.
Not
So, I want, because you see this show, we are educating people out there. The young, the old, all the generations. The point me and Chris are making is that they are heroes everywhere we turn.
Yeah.
They are heroes.
You have to do a heroic thing
So-
to be a
They
hero.
are
Yes.
heroes everywhere we turn. Now, the only difference is on what scale have you done your achievements. Because you will find that in a certain village, there is a chairperson LOC1 who
Absolutely.
has fought domestic violence.
Yeah.
And all the women are celebrating him in that village.
I agree.
Let me give you an
My-
example. There is a certain chairperson LOC5 in one of the Buganda districts. He even walks around with a cane, I hear, to cane his people. But some people are celebrating because he's showing them that even as a farmer, you can earn. And some people celebrate him. You understand? So, when we ignore such people, then how do we get the cumulative total?
My question is,
Yeah.
when does it become a legacy? What's your understanding, both of you, of legacy?
Thank you that you asked. Let me give you a
So that
very
we can
quick,
get to the point.
Very,
Yeah.
very quick
And do we
answer.
celebrate everybody?
And
Okay,
everyone.
Yes,
So
and
let
everyone,
me give you an example of one of my heroes. When he was 7, he was called from school, and he watched his father lying on the floor, frothing and convulsing as people peed into his mouth, because that was the only treatment for people who are convulsing because of
Epilepsy.
abuse of alcohol.
Oh.
That's the last time he ever saw his father alive. My grandfather was 7 years old when he saw my great-grandfather die that way. He grew up, so he and his brother were sent to different relatives to look after them, didn't have an education. He came to Kampala and started working in Uganda bookshop as a janitor,
A cleaner.
cleaning toilets on the floor. In between the cleaning of the toilets and the floor, he would come into the, he taught himself how to read and write. And because it's Uganda bookshop, he would get accounts books and teach himself debit, credit, and how to balance books. One day, the accountant didn't come to work because he felt sweet and he didn't show up. He said to his bosses, look, I can do this. Give me a chance. They gave him a chance, and from that point, he was an accounts clerk for Uganda Bookshop for 32 years. He made it through. And on the side he was doing business, he started exporting drums to Europe and things like that, like Ngoma, drums. And he ended up, by the time he passed away in 1994, he had lots of real estate. He was a wealthy man. He did good for his family. He did good for his
You
kids.
just answered my question.
But wait,
So-
let me just finish. But do you even know his name?
No, but we
Do
see,
you know the guy I'm talking about?
we cannot celebrate every single
So
hero
that's
in
my
this country.
point, Peter.
But what we're
Do you
saying
know what?
is,
If I didn't tell you this story, you would not know that there is a hero called Ernest Chibalama Sentongo, who was my grandfather.
I
You
agree.
don't know about him. But somewhere down there is an Ernest Chibalama Sentongo in every family. My point is, Peter,
they're
I am
useless
not-
people. You
no,
know,
no, no,
that's
listen.
a fact.
Listen, what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
the point is that I'm not saying we should not celebrate the Musevenis, the Obotes, the Amins, depending on how you think, the Bobby Wines, all right? We should celebrate all those people, right? But you see, because they're playing at a national league, does not mean there is no hero at a village level
Nobody
or
has
no
said
hero
that.
at a home level. Peter, the way you talk about your dad and how he whipped you, he was your hero.
I know it was.
Oh,
did
yeah,
well.
we talked about
He raised
That
you
is
very well.
nothing. And that he was doing his job. In fact, all
Let
the
me
caning I got, I deserved it.
In fact,
okay.
in fact, Igaga,
and this
if we
way-
talk about heroes, national heroes, let us pause.
but
I
just
think
hold
the
on,
main
just hold
question
on,
you should
just hold
ask
on.
is, when does it change from being like celebrating everyone to someone's actual responsibility?
Yes, and like I agree with you 100% about your grandfather. Perfect. Now,
Yeah.
the accountant who did not show up, is he also a hero for having not shown up? Because you see, I can also say he was. After all, was he doing his duty? He was doing, according to you, he was doing something special. You've talked about people showing up on time. And I'll tell you what, we are talking to basically to the entire country. We run at a risk of sense of entitlement, which is a problem that we have in this country. And I'll tell you why. Where I am employed, and it's happening a lot with the youth, I am employed, I come to work on time. How comes my employer
and
is
then
not
when you
praising
say
me?
something wrong, they'll
Yes.
be like, you say everything wrong, but you don't tell
You
me
don't-
what's
you don't-
right.
you don't- you
Igaga.
don't- It should not be that way. If you're going to be a hero, do something heroic. Do something out of the normal.
Chris, maybe just before you come in.
And that's where the sacrifice
if
is
you, if you
celebrated.
went around the country to the primary schools, let us start with the primary schools, and you ask those peoples, what do you want to be in the future? Do you know what they will tell you? A doctor, a nurse, a teacher. Do you know why? Because when they get sick, they see nurse so and so do everything possible to make them well. They see teacher A every day struggling to make them learn A, B, C, D.
And
I
teacher is paid.
disagree.
It's a
Now,
career.
yes, he's paid. He's doing his job. That's what we are saying. Even, I can say this with confidence, even our dear president, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is doing his job because we elected him as voters to do
That's
that.
his job. So
Yeah.
should we not celebrate him
Should
because
we
it's
not
his
celebrate?
job?
But he has done extraordinary things. So we celebrate him. So even me, hold your fire. Even me, if my family believes that I have done
Because
things,
you put food on the table.
I have built a legacy. If my family believes, for instance, that they should be in Chiboga, and I have sacrificed to bring them in Kampala, then I'm their hero. They should celebrate me at that level. I'm not saying Uganda celebrates at that level. And I think that's the point Chris is
we
making.
are setting the bar too low.
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
we've reached that point when
Peter,
we do need to wrap
welcome
up the
to your
show.
skies. And I'm not ready for my party shirts. I'm so bored.
We
like your
have to
craft.
set the bar high. Madonna, because you've been on my side today.
Oh, that's a reward. Okay.
So
Reward
wrap
yourself.
up the short.
Oh my God, I know you're coming for us. But like you were saying, I just feel like there is where, okay, yes, I agree with your point. At some point, there are
What's your
very many.
point?
And his point is not every hero wears a cap. There are heroes at home, sitting. They do everything to make things work, just like your grandfather. But my whole point is, there is a point where, like you were saying, paying that, like you're at home and the woman hasn't thanked you and what. There's where responsibilities come in, and then to me, there's where you double it up with a sacrifice. Like there are some sacrifices that are worth, yes, giving like applauds, and then there are some where we are like, okay, good job, but you know, you'll get better. But I think for me, that's my view.
Banji, your parting shot.
Now, the Uganda martyrs, I'm a Catholic. The Uganda martyrs who died at Namugongo, the Catholics, they died because they were doing their job, believing. So we shouldn't celebrate them. That's what you'd think. No.
You're putting words in our mouth.
It's my parting shot.
Okay.
We shouldn't celebrate them. The point actually is we should celebrate them because they showed extraordinary resistance to continue believing in what they believed in. The heroes we are celebrating, these are guys who did things, and in the way they were doing these things, they even didn't know that we shall celebrate them. But they stood their ground and stood and said, this is the right thing. You know, there is a governor, one of the earliest governors of Bank of Uganda. He was shot because he was simply telling the president, we cannot print money. We can't continue printing money. The economy will collapse. They said, you're a bad governor, get off office.
Should.
You understand? So, being a hero has levels. And I want the viewers to know this. There are different heroes at different levels. If you are not celebrated at the national level, you will be celebrated at a lower level. Even celebrated in your own household as a hero is excellent. But the message you take home is that you can't build a legacy without sacrifice. This is the most important thing that I want people to understand, that when you are building a legacy for your family, because you have a vision, you stick to that vision, you toil with that vision, you sacrifice something.
Okay, Chris, your parting shot.
I wish I had 20 days to talk about it. But there is no hero with no sacrifice. And many people out there are sacrificing. Most of the people watching us right now, whether in Gulu, Kalangala, wherever you may be, there's so many people who are sacrificing. You probably are making huge sacrifices. My mother made huge sacrifices for us to be educated. She was a woman, secretary, earning 400K with 4 kids and things like that because I had separated with my dad. And she had like 5 dresses and a really worn out shoe for the longest time. I'm educated. My brothers are educated. 3 of us have masters and more and stuff like that because my mom made sacrifices. She's my heroine.
And she's building
and you
a
cannot
legacy.
erase that, right? So everybody who has a conviction to to better other people, whether it's your family members, your own kids, and all that stuff, you are a hero. You are a heroine. Sacrifice, conviction, when you put that together and go at it for a long time, what ends up happening is you are somebody's hero. So whether you're celebrated on national news or not, you are a hero. We celebrate you. I want you to know that there's many people who celebrate you. Don't die without knowing that we celebrate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, I'll tell you what.
my God.
Mine is very simple, and I'll pick up on what he said. The key word that stood out is the word extraordinary. If you're not doing extraordinary things, you're not a hero. And that's what separates it. Now, from us tonight, that is what we have for you. It is about being extraordinary. Don't do the normal and call yourself a hero. No, I'm sorry.
Ordinary is extraordinary if you do it
We
consistently.
want you to be extraordinary
Yeah.
people, especially the men. And that's what will make the difference. We have to say goodnight to you. We've been having a good night. Time flies when you're having fun. So let's continue this discussion on NTV MEN UG, which is our Twitter handle, and on Facebook. From us here at Inspire Africa Coffee, have a good night, God bless, and we'll see you next week.